This is my 2012 Confederate, also known as combat motors. It is probably the best toy I had ever owned, and I will ever own. Unless I buy the P51 from them. That is an awesome toy too. It's got, to give you an idea, carbon fiber fenders. It's got carbon fiber covers there for the electronics. The headlights are pretty fucking cool. Hey, look at this. Have you ever seen something like this on a motorcycle before? I bet you won't, because this is the only bike that does this. It's got carbon fiber rims. Three-piston Brembo brakes, calipers. Set of two. One on the right and one on the left. Hey. Well, that's my other Hellcat. That one right there. Oh, by the way, this is the first one they ever made. In 2012, they made this one as a template to build the rest of them. They built, I think, 69 of these. But this is the first one. They went all crazy on this one. They did more things that they never should have done. Just to give you an idea, one of the things they did. Have you ever seen a fuel tank with the oil filler in the middle? Because as you already know, the backbone of this thing, that's where the oil is. It's like the oil tank, I guess you want to call it a tank. It's industrial grade casing for the motor itself. It's an SNS, 132 cubic inches, which is about 2160, I think 2168 cc's. What that means, the CX means is the third generation Hellcat. They made this one in 2012. They, like I said, they went all out on this. Oh, just to use this as a template. They figured, okay, let's build this one. And from here, we're gonna build the rest of them, but we're gonna see if we can cut cost. I just found out on these things, this racing suspension in the rear. I mean, they just, everything they did on this is, it's amazing. My wife don't even want me to ride it because she says that it should be inside the house. It's kind of hilarious, but that's what my wife says. The casing on for the transmission housing is all was made out of a block of aluminum. Nothing on this thing is stamped. Everything is handmade. Even the chain. The guy told me that the grade on this is like, oh, let me see. I just noticed this. Maybe somebody knows more about chains than I do. Check that out. I'm trying to see if I can clean this. Nah, I won't be able to clean it. But anyways, somebody might. Oh, there we go. There's some markings in there. Kind of upside down, but hold on, I can get a little further out. I just lubricated the chain yesterday. Anyways, have you ever seen anything like this before? This is wild, man. Everywhere I go, when I stop, and this is the most attractive to people, at least most people anyways. Whenever they see that in there, and this is so everything moves when you crank it up, when it's on outside, yeah. You can see that all that spinning. Oh, you know what? Every time I make a video on this thing and I see it again, I see something different that I didn't cut before, because there's so much to see on this thing. Oh, the fuel tank is aluminum, and it is handmade. It was nothing, like I said, nothing, and this is a stamp. It's got an S&S air intake on it. As I said, the engine is an S&S. The best S&S ever made, I guess. I think they have, S&S has one called the 140, is it 143 or 147 cubic inches. I think they put that one on a Harley Davidson, and it kicks ass, man. This is, but I guess this is enough, because if you look at what this is compared to the weight ratio on this thing, I mean, shit. It will give you about 147 to about 150 pound of torque. I'm not gonna give you the number of 0 to 60, because I'm not even gonna try, man. I don't think nobody has ever tried. People that own these things, you know, they don't see them. They don't see these bikes like that. You know, they don't say, "Oh, my bike can do this. Oh, my bike can do that." All I can tell you is that for what it is, I've been told many things that it is, but to me, it's just a piece of art. Besides being a motorcycle, it's something between a cafe racer, a muscle bike. It's not a cruiser, because I don't see cruiser in it, but you cruise whenever you're riding it, so I guess, you know, it's a combination of all of it. In my opinion, it's whatever you want it to be, you know. Check this out. They asked me if I wanted the backbone to be painted, and I told them, hell no. Look at this. They just clear coated it. It gives you the industrial look that it is. The clutch, never, man, never in my life have I ever driven anything that the clutch is so fucking tough. It's not a wet clutch, as you can see. Oh, another thing, it's got a GP style transmission. The gears and everything is like in the GP whirl. It's 1 up, 5 down. And when I mean 5 down, that's what I mean. This, I mean, not because I own it. Kudos to people that came up with the idea and have the audacity, I say, or the balls to do something like this. Mike Chambers is the guy that actually owned the company up to not long ago. I'm not gonna bore you with the story, but he went to build electric motorcycles now, and you got to see it. The electric motorcycles that these guys are building coming up, I already talked to them. I might buy one, but I don't know just yet, because they're not cheap. They're gonna be expensive. It's out of this world. Even this thing, like I said, everywhere I've been so far, people will ask me, "What did I build it?" Another thing, they ask me, "What is it?" Some people will say, "Man, this is the wickedest thing I ever seen." Is it a movie prod or something? I mean, they think it's for a movie. I said, "Nah, man, you can buy them. I mean, not really. You can." One thing I have to mention: you don't ride this thing. I don't know if let me explain. You know how you get on a bike, you ride the bike, right? On this thing, you part of the bike. It doesn't look like much when you're riding it because it's not heavy. It's like not even 500 pounds. But I'll tell you one thing. I have let me show you what I have. It's under, I got it covered, but I have a 2017 Indian Roadmaster here. It weighs 900 and almost 950 pounds, I think. And I have a V-Ride, 2016 V-Ride here, muscle. Neither one of those bikes can compare to how this one is. This one, you become part of the bike. And if you ever buy one of these, if you're lucky enough to find one for sale and get it, and if you have the money, buy it. I guarantee you will remember what I'm gonna say. The best, I don't know if I want to say call it a toy, but it's the best money you will ever spend on whatever it is. It can be a house, it can be another car, it can be whatever. This is, I mean, I'm still shocked every now and then when I come out of the house and look at it. I'm like, shit, I own this thing. Oh, by the way, they did back in 2014, they took one of them to the Salt Flats up in Utah, and for what it is, for the category this bike is on, it broke the record. The record on this category, I think it was 147 miles or 152. I ain't quite sure, but they did on this one 177 miles. You know, it wasn't this one. I'm not gonna lie to you, it wasn't this one. This one, like I said, this one was, you just made to evaluate what they were gonna do with the next generation. But like I said, they went all out on this one compared to the other ones. Like the other ones, for instance, the fuel tank, you won't have this. You're not gonna have it. How you fill up with the oil is right here with this one. This one right there, that's where you put the oil in. And on this one, one thing I don't like is because this is kind of on the side, you cannot fill up the tank all the way. Look how massive this is. I can almost put my hand through that hole. But the first time I ever rode it, I filled it all the way up, and I was getting some fumes from it. Well, it's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be to get all the pressure out of it. But I filled it out, and every now and then I can feel a drop, like around my arm, and I'm like, what the fuck, you know? But eventually I figured it out, and then I found out that you're not supposed to fill it all the way to the rim. But I made a mistake that did it. So I was just too excited, man, you know. And you don't buy this to get the fuel economy or none of that shit. This is not if you're thinking about how many miles per gallon you're gonna get out of this, you're buying the wrong bike. You know, that's not why you buy it. Another thing is the GP gearing. My mind, I mean, when I first rode it, I was like, cause you know, you're used to going one down and the rest of them up, and on this is the other way around. And I'm like, I stole the bike twice. I'm not gonna lie to you. Call me an idiot, call me whatever, but I did stole it twice because your mind is telling you you're on a motorcycle, right? And you're supposed to go first down and 5 up or 6 up or whatever. But on this one, it's the other way around, as I said. Now I know why GP, the guys use this kind of transmission for GP. I get it. It's easier to shift, to upshift anyways. I'm getting my battery charged. I think it's already full. Let me see. Oh yeah, it's full. I went and got it inspected the other day, and the guys at the inspection station, they were crazy because they seen it the second time. They go, Marco, what the hell, man? Where you been? Blah, blah, blah. And it's not. They were taking videos of it and pictures every time. I mean, I've been up to that place twice, and they done the same thing. They tell me they never get tired of seeing it. Yeah, well. Oh, it doesn't have anti-lag brake, ABS, none of that shit. That's not the bike. Doesn't. If you think it's got all that tech, it doesn't. This is actually like a muscle car from the 60s. It's up to you whatever it is you want to do with it. The turn radius is not the greatest, as you can see. This is as far as you can turn. I don't know if you can kind of have an idea. Let me turn it the other way so you can see. But once you move in, it's not a big deal. See that? That's it. It's not that much. I love the switches. It's got like toggle switches. Let me get it just a minute. There we go. This is for high beam, low beam. That's the horn. I'm sorry. This is the turn signals. This is the horn, and this is the turn in on. Turn it off. This is your turn signal. And this one is to crank it up. The key, look at the key. Even the key is, it's wild the way why they went that way. Let me see if I have the key with me. No, I got it inside. I'll make another video later on riding it or cranking it up. Because even my neighbors, look where my neighbor lives. It's right there, and on the other side of my house I don't have a neighbor. It's a school, and my neighbor, every now and then when I crank it up, my neighbor will come out and say, "Hey Mark, are you gonna go for a ride?" I'm a little embarrassed because he can hear it, the rumbling. I took it to Harley Davidson yesterday. There wasn't a lot of people because, you know, it was Tuesday. The manager of the store came out because he told me he's seen them in videos, but he never seen one, you know, right there. You can touch it and take pictures of it. He asked me, "Hey, can I ride it?" I said, "Sure," but he didn't do it. You know, I mean, I don't care. My thinking is, somebody writes it and loves it. Hopefully they'll buy one if they can find one, or maybe they give me maybe they offer me something for mine. Oh, one thing, check this out. That's another thing, it's kind of wild. See, that's oil right here. You can see the oil flow on it when it was running. In the headlights. My son told me one day that he said, "Hey Dad, your bike looks like, it's like a transformer." He says, "Yeah, you got a point. It's kind of what it looks like a transformer kind of thing." The cop, there was a couple of cops in town. One of them got behind me. He didn't put his lights on or anything. He was just behind me, and I thought, "Oh fuck, he's gonna give me a ticket because of the noise." No, he didn't. And then he got next to me and he goes, "Can you pull on the side for a minute? Let me talk to you." So, all he wanted to know about the bike, what is it? Because he never seen one in his life. And he was, while I was talking to him, he was Googling it. And there was another cop that, he was a motorcycle cop. And he got next to me and he goes, "Shit, I thought I had a ride. I ain't got nothing compared to what you got." And I stopped on the side, talked to him for a minute. It's, you know. It is outstanding. I think my battery is already charged. I'm gonna get the battery tender off of this thing. Let's see. Ooh, come on. Come on. There you go. Doesn't have water to get in there. I gotta hide this because otherwise it's, you know, not gonna look right. There you go. That's the way kind of I'd like to write it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll make another one later on.